All right, everybody. I'd like to introduce my boss and friend, Chief Hampton Gardner of the Sumter County Sheriff's Office.
Hey, how's everybody? Ooh, all these cameras. Gosh. Lights, action, camera. I'm not a.
Don't we go get the spotlight or?
No. That's what we do. We shine the spotlight on. Ready?
Yes, sir.
It's not live, is it?
It is, well,
No, really. Okay. At approximately 10:32 p.m. on the last evening, Sumter County Sheriff's Office responded to a residence on Floyd Drive, located here in Sumter County. And upon responding, we learned that the resident of the home had been shot up. A neighbor from the wood line from a nearby residence came over, entered the home invasion type, started shooting, and an 11-year-old was struck and killed instantly. Law enforcement responded. Upon our response to the incident, the suspect had been detained by the people of the residence that he went to, and of course we did make an arrest and found that he had another weapon on him. He, when he entered the house, he was firing an assault rifle, and I think there were about 10, 11 people in the house. So we feel that his intentions were to kill everybody at that residence at that time. It was unprovoked, senseless, and something like this should never occur. Anything else?
taking questions?
Yes.
All right, what do you think the motive was behind the shootings?
We, for the past few weeks, we have been getting calls from the Arthur Leonard, who was the suspect, of course. Arthur Leonard had called us because there was the people on Floyd Drive were target practicing in their backyard. Of course, it's a residential area. However, they're in the county, so there's no law or county ordinance against them shooting in the county. And upon response, he apparently didn't take to them firing in the backyard. Nowhere near his yard. He's through a wood line on another street. So he'd been going over and talking to them about the shooting. Of course, on last evening, I don't think there was any shooting that occurred. He just did not appreciate it. They've been back and forth. We've responded maybe 2 or 3 times to that residence for that particular purpose. Made contact with both the defendant and the victim's home. And again, there were no charges to be brought for people shooting in their yard in the county. Mr. Leonard seemed to take it upon himself to stop the shooting. I think one of the witnesses said that he was going to have them stop it one way or another, but we're still looking into that. And of course, last night, I guess, is what resulted.
So you responded to the Floyd Drive address a few times in reference to complaints that he made?
Yes, the complaints were made by him, and we've, over the years, we have never gotten complaints over in that area for that shooting from any other people. Like I said, within the past few weeks, he started calling. It's a residential area. We never got any complaints from any other residents.
Is there something that would bar folks from doing that shooting, target practice, whatever the case may be, if it is in the city's jurisdiction?
And I feel that I'm not sure, but I believe there is an ordinance within the city limits to prevent that, to avoid that. But even in the county, if it's a residential area and we can determine that it's not safe, then yeah, we would respond to them and prevent them from doing that. But in this case, we responded, found that it was safe where they were shooting, and that it didn't affect anything.
In a separate incident, his wife was also shot and killed.
Yes,
Was
yes.
there a motive behind that incident?
Yeah, I don't, yes, of course, upon arresting him, he did indicate that his wife was shot at his residence. So deputies from the sheriff's office went to the residence, tried to get in and make contact with someone there, of course, to no avail. And when they entered the residence, they found that the wife of Arthur Leonard had been killed, and they found her lying in the garage. Don't know what a motive is behind that.
Was he known to you guys before this incident?
Has he been known to us
Yeah.
before last night's incident?
Yeah.
Yes, we've responded and spoken with him. As a matter of fact, I think he had a conversation with the sheriff on yesterday evening, and the sheriff indicated that, hey, we'll come out again and talk with everyone and see if we can resolve the issue. And Sheriff Dennis even advised him that, hey, if something happens this evening, you feel that call 911 or you can contact me and we'll respond. But of course, we didn't get a call from him.
What about before this whole incident? Have there been other incidences where you had to go to his house, or?
We have responded to Floyd Drive. He lives in the city. The street that he lives on is in the city. We've responded to Floyd Drive from the county. And yes, in reference to them, again, he's gone over on a couple of occasions to challenge the folks for shooting in their backyard.
Has Mr. Leonard been released from the hospital?
At this time, he's still at a local hospital.
You said that he told deputies from the sheriff's office that his wife was shot and killed. He said that
He indicated that he had shot her.
Oh.
When we responded, we found that she was lifeless, that she had been killed.
Were his injuries self-inflicted, or were they?
We're not sure. He did have injuries upon us getting there. Law enforcement was able to arrest him without incident. Well, I say without incident. He did have another handgun on him, and that handgun was taken from him when law enforcement arrived. And again, he was arrested, but he had injuries. He had injuries upon us getting there.
Where was the assault rifle then? I know you had mentioned that he was shooting with an assault
Right.
rifle, and then when you arrived, he had a second handgun.
Yes, the residents on the at Floyd Drive was able to stop him from shooting, and of course they wrestled him down and took the assault rifle from him.
So I'm assuming that upon release from the hospital, he'll then have a bond court appearance?
That's correct. He's being charged with murder. There could be other charges. Of course, there were approximately 10 people in the residence, so we foresee some other charges. But as of this time, he's been charged with murder, 2 counts.
Initially, we heard that dogs were also involved in the shootings, but I'm hearing conflicting reports as far as if it did or didn't happen. So, just basically, have you heard anything in reference to any animals being injured or shot during this incident?
As a matter of fact, I think there were a couple of animals shot too. Like I said, he went in and
We're uncertain about that right now.
oh, okay, we're uncertain about that. Okay, yeah,
So he's being charged with 1 count of murder or 2?
2. He murdered the 11-year-old and he murdered his wife.
And you mentioned earlier that he went into the other residence with an assault rifle, with an intention to kill everyone in the house. Where did in the investigation, where was the 11-year-old that was struck and killed?
When he entered the home, the 11-year-old was apparently in one of the front rooms. As soon as he immediately entered, he started shooting, I guess, whomever he saw first, and he kept shooting. So there were several rounds within the home. And again, other folks apparently, I don't know if they took cover, but in any event, he was able to be apprehended or detained by a member of the household there. And yes, we are charging 1 count of murder in the county. Of course, the other incident took place in the city of Sumter.
Is there any history of mental unstableness?
None that we're aware of. No, none that we're aware of.
So based on your conversations with the suspect, it didn't appear that he had any issues that would have made his mental state unstable, like dementia or anything of the sort?
No, he just said he didn't want them shooting in the neighborhood. We responded. We had a talk with him and let him know that unless it's we could possibly do a charge for breach of peace. It didn't occur in our presence to begin with, but call us back and we'll see if we can do a breach of peace charge at least, perhaps. But there was nothing that we could charge at that time. But yes,
Can you release the names of the victims?
not at this time. No.
According to the public index, he was arrested on Monday for breach of peace charges. Is that a continuation up until what happened last night, or is that something separate?
Mr. Arthur was given a breach of peace summons. Yeah, he did go over to the neighbor's home, and of course, it was an incident where he was charged with breach of peace.
So that happened on Monday?
Yes,
How long were they married for?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
And these 2 houses, obviously these are in between city and county lines.
Absolutely, it's probably 100 yards difference. There's a wood line that separates the two homes. There's, Arthur Leonard lives on one street. He'd have to walk through the wood line, cross over on Floyd Street to get to the other residence, but approximately 100 yards between the two residents.
Are you looking
Sis.
to have more charges with the city police? Is there conversations about what those charges could be, and the charges for the county too?
Yes, we're working with the Sumter Police Department as well, and of course, we foresee more charges.
But just to confirm, y'all are charging him with one count?
One count of murder.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Do you have any idea how he got to Floyd Drive? He walked through the wood line?
He did walk through the wood line. Yes, he walked through the wood line. From his residence, he walked through the wood line onto the property at Floyd Drive and into the residence.
Are there any other questions for the chief?
I don't think so.
Thank you much.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, chief.
Gonna prosecute him to the fullest. Again, there was no sense in having this occur. It was unprovoked, and so we're going to seek prosecution to the fullest in this incident, for this incident.